37, the 4th of May. May the 4th be with you. Guahusi Chris. It's the link. Ken Lujan, Mary Rhodes coming on to close out the show here. As I know we talked about the Democratic primary, the Democratic Party of Guam in a release saying that they have voted to allow their primary to be open to non-affiliated voters, right? 8:37. So that was an interesting couple weeks. But they met with the Guam Election Commission, I think Friday, and then Miss Maria Pangilinan had notified them that it was just pretty much impossible to try and pull it off with this little time before the primary election. Other news here, we'll keep it Democrat, as we announced to start the show that the former Speaker, Ken Ariola, has passed. Our condolences again going out to the Ariola family. Good morning, it's 8:38. Wednesday, May 4th, Ken Lujan of the Small Business Administration, they sent out a release yesterday, and this was relative to the wind down of the emergency, the EIDL loan program. Okay, so I think we got Ken in. Ken, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Chris.
Right on. I don't know what's going on with your camera, which is such a shame. I always love to have handsome people on the show. Ken, I know I saw the release. If you want to just kind of unpack that for us, if you could.
Sure, Chris. Thanks for having me on your show. And basically, the information I want to give out to the community is this. SB for the past 2 years, prior to the COVID, we've been assisting clients pretty much help themselves to the opportunity of getting some disaster relief funding from the SBA through our various programs, of which EIDL was the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. And that's one of the last programs that we have running for in terms of providing financial assistance to businesses out there that's affected by the COVID. The funds are going to be running out. So then the borrowers have until May 6th, which is a couple days from now, to submit any final requests for COVID increases or reconsiderations, primarily because of the fact that the fund is running. They have until May 6th to do so. And some of the concerns that was raised to me is that they'll say, Ken, wait a minute, we have an application pending, what's going to happen to our application? Well, in that instance, the borrowers have until May 16th to complete any documentation or sign any requirements from the SBA within the portal, which is the source in which they can go online and actually download the information submitted to SBA. So they have until May 16th to do all that information. So again, the concern was, after May 16, what happens after that if we aren't able to do so? Well, your loan application is still going to be in the queue. SBA will still try to work with you to facilitate it and finalize your documentation, but there may be a delay in receiving funds. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to encourage everyone to start getting your paperwork in. Don't let SBA decline the application, because once they decline it, there's no way to reinstate it again. So basically, the message is we're trying to get it out to the community to expedite your process by cooperating with the SBA and getting the information to us.
Ken, if your application's in the queue and you do have all the proper stuff and you're just in the line, so when the deadline passes, are they still going to address everybody who's in the queue now?
Yes, they're basically they're obligating the funds for them. Once, assuming that, say for instance, the client SBA says we need this documentation within 7 days, and the client does not submit the documents within 7 days, SBA is going to issue out a decline letter. And once they issue a decline letter, you can't ask for reconsideration again, because of the fact that they gave you the opportunity to respond and you became non-compliant. So therefore, we then have to de-obligate the funds and return it back to the treasurer or use it all up elsewhere.
Ken, do you have numbers?
Just for the information, thus far as of the end of April, the SBA has issued out 1,423 loans out to businesses, of which $160 million was actually issued out in terms of approved dollar amounts. So we've issued out just for this particular program $160 million going out to the community for aid.
What have you heard from people who have received these EIDL, the EIDL assistance?
I'm sorry.
What have you heard from people who have received the assistance?
They're happy they did that because they need the funds immediately. There are situations where some of them have received funds immediately, some of them were delayed, primarily because of the fact that they were lacking certain documentation. Tax verifications were made, verification of ownership. So there's a lot of due diligence that SBA had to go through for them to finalize the arrangement with the borrowers. But once they receive the funds, they're grateful for receiving the funds. And of course, once payments aren't made into 30 months from down the road. So in other words, they signed the note, promissory note today. They've got 30 months to actually make their first payment. So in addition to the fact that they have a low interest rate, which is a long-term loan, they also have a deferment on that, and their payment doesn't start until 2.5 years down the road.
Is there a chance that that might just be forgiven?
Not for the EIDL. That was primarily for the PPP.
Right.
It was a program that we allowed for loan forgiveness, but with the EIDL, it's actually a loan. The other thing we're also encouraging, because of the fact that a lot of these businesses may not be able to avail themselves of the EIDL, we still have our regular program, the 7(a) program, that they can go to a lending institution and get the SBA guarantee on top of that. So there are still some options out there available to small businesses if they're still in need of capital and funds that to continue operations.
Well, Ken, what's your take on it with those opportunities that are available in EIDL winding down? What's the need from like the small business community? Because I feel like I've heard the term artificial economy thrown around, but what's your read on it when you talk to some of our small business people?
Well, I've seen it, Chris, where a lot of these small businesses that have been in operation prior to COVID have closed down, and primarily because of the fact that they never re-strategized their operations. They were operating at a probably at a break-even point, and of course, with the COVID situation, that just kind of brought them down below the break-even. They were making money, so they obviously had to close. But for those situations, there's also some good highlights of it, to the point where you're now seeing new businesses forming up because they're seeing an opportunity now that competition's no longer there. They see an opportunity for them to grasp onto it and create another business that would then adapt to the COVID environment that we're presently in.
Right.
And so we're seeing a lot of that going there, and that's why I want to kind of navigate them up towards not receiving disaster funds, but rather receiving regular funds, coming directly from our lending institutions. Because our lenders need to get back into the business of lending money to the business community.
Right. We had a comment here. Do you have any idea of how much unused funds might be returned to the administration?
I don't have an idea. I mean, I know it's a couple billions. It's probably $1 billion or so, but then.
Oh, we dropped him. Oh man, we lost Ken. So yeah, he said it was about 1,400 EIDL assistance that were approved to the tune of about $160 million, and he said that as the EIDL winds down, what the Small Business Administration is trying to do is trying to migrate people, small businesses seeking assistance, more towards some of the regular, I guess, for lack of a better term, programs that have existed under the Small Business Administration. I'm talking about like the type of assistance they were doing before the pandemic. But we did lose Ken. I feel like we got all the info out of him, though, right? If there's anything else, I can shoot him a text. I did want to ask him, though, if it was his call, would he want to see more pandemic-related assistance? Do we need more with the small businesses? But I have a feeling his answer would probably be sure. 846, Mary Rhodes, let's just move on to